Hello friends, my name is Abhay Kumar and today I am going to discuss the issue of Uniform Civil Code. You know it very well that recently Delhi High Court has given a judgment, and in that judgment the court has said that the central government should go for enactment of Uniform Civil Code. According to media reports, on June 7th, 2021, Delhi High Court said that caste and religion related barriers are gradually disappearing, and the court has asked the center to take necessary steps for implementing of Uniform Civil Code. Justice Pratibha M. Singh has observed, and the judge has once again underscored the importance of Uniform Civil Code. It is to be noted that the Delhi High Court gave this observation while hearing a petition related to applicability of Hindu Marriage Act to a family belonging to Meena community in Rajasthan. So the observation was made that the center must go for enactment of Uniform Civil Code. After this judgment, now the politics is being played everywhere, and Hindutva forces, the Hindu right-wing majoritarian forces, they have become very active on social media, and they have used this occasion to target Muslims community, minorities, and I want to read out a few comments which I noted from social media. Muslims were attacked for increasing population, and at one place it was said that if DNA of all Indians is the same, then why there should be separate laws, there should be uniformity in law. Apart from that, Muslims were also attacked in several ways, and one statement says that Muslims are advocating Sharia while Uniform Civil Code is a progressive move, but now the secular forces, they are criticizing, or Muslims are opposing the step towards uniformity in the law, and they are saying that Hindutva forces are being branded as communal. So you could see here that this judgment has given an opportunity for Hindu right-wing forces to get active, and Muslim bashing has once again started. Friends, first of all, I want to clarify that what is Uniform Civil Code. Uniform Civil Code refers to enactment of laws related to marriage, inheritance, succession, divorce, charity, and in these matters, communities in India, they are being guided by their own customary laws. For example, how a Hindu should do marriage, what kinds of ritual a Hindu should follow, or how divorce should be given, or how the property should be distributed. These issues are being dealt with personal laws, and sometimes there is a confusion that personal laws refer to individual law. No, it is not like that. Personal laws basically refer to community laws, family law, customary laws, and it is not only Muslims, even the Hindus, the Sikhs, the Christian, even the tribal community, they are given some kind of customary law. But one thing we have to keep in mind, that our life, 99% of life is being governed by uniform laws. There is complete uniformity. It is only in 1% of our life where customary laws is recognized, as I have told you, in the case of marriage, divorce, succession, inheritance, charity. Friends, Uniform Civil Code is not a new issue. The court has also earlier said that the government should go for Uniform Civil Code, and even the government had said that it is committed to bringing about uniform civil code. And friends, you have to also remember it that since late 1980s, uniform civil code, Ram temple and abolition of article 370 have been the controversial issues with BJP's manifesto. And I sometimes feel really surprised that what is the logic behind clubbing Ram temple and then uniform civil code together. So these are cultural issues of the BJP, and even in 2019 manifesto of the BJP, uniform civil code and its implementation was being promised by the party. Friends, one thing we have to also keep in mind that directive principle of Indian Constitution article 44 is advisory. It is not compulsory unless that advisory measures are implemented into laws. It cannot be imposed. It cannot be imposed. On the other hand, we have fundamental rights in our constitutions that cannot be taken away in any conditions. So now the question is that the right-wing forces are talking about, and they all the time they underscore that uniform civil code should be brought about. But at the same time, the same constitution, the Indian Constitution, talks about article 25 and other articles that religious freedom of citizens and cultural and minority rights of let's say religious minorities, these are given protections and they are put under fundamental rights, so they cannot be taken away. So there is some kind of tensions also, that if you go for implementing that uniform civil code, and if you go to implement the directive principle of 44, what will happen, that it will also affect negatively uniform that fundamental rights, and how to maintain that balance is very difficult thing. And now the question is that in a society like India, where different castes, different community, different religions, if so much diversity is found, how could a government can bring about a draft, a law that could be agreed upon by everybody, and that uniformity will be accepted by everybody? That is not very very easy. Another important thing we have to keep in mind, that uniform civil code is not only registered by Muslims. I think if you take the example of Christians and the Sikhs, even the Hindus, we will find, and we find it, that there is a lot of varieties, there is a lot of diversity in their custom. For example, a person getting married in Bihar who is a Hindu, and a person who is getting married in Kashmir who is a Hindu, and a Hindu getting married in Kerala or maybe Assam, their rituals will vary. So the reality in the society is diversity, but the claim, the desire is always to go for uniformity. So this is very difficult thing to achieve. And friends, we have to also see what kinds of argument are being given. One argument given by the court is that caste and religious identities are disappearing. I don't understand that that the reality is like this. Friends, if you read newspaper, you will find that every day caste violence is taking place, and such a story you will find. Even in the name of religion, people are being discriminated, mob lynching is there, and then people are not given a room, and also they are discriminated at so many other places. And at the time of COVID, when the government focus should have been on giving relief to people, what government is doing? It is busy with constructing Ram temple. And we should not forget that last year Prime Minister went to Ayodhya violating COVID guidelines, and he did Silanyas or ground breaking ceremony. He performed that puja. So caste and religious boundaries are not disappearing. Even in judiciary, there is no reservation, and most of judges are coming from the upper caste families, and there are very few families who are controlling judiciary. So caste is not going away. You tell me one reason where a Dalit has been given ticket from non-reserved seat. You tell me one reason where a good number of Dalit and OBCs are being recruited from general seat. It is not happening. Intercaste marriages is not happening. So the caste and religious boundaries are disappearing, and that is why we go for uniformity. I don't agree with this statement. Now, it is not the questions of Muslim only. Even the tribals, the Adivasi people, they have their own customary laws. And if uniformity is brought about, how could the government be able to address their grievances? These are very, very difficult questions. So it is very easy for anybody to say that, okay, uniform civil code is very good, very good, very good, we should go for that. But in reality, it is very difficult to be implemented. Why it is very difficult to be implemented? Because reality is plural. The reality is always diverse, but there is always a desire by the majority community, one nation, one culture, one community. And even those who are talking about one culture, one nation, one community, if you go and study that culture and that language and that idea of nation very closely, you will find that it is only the elite from that majority communities who are trying to project their interest and their culture to be non-Indian culture. For example, a large number of people eat non-vegetarian stuff in India. I think majority of them eat. But what is being projected that India is vegetarian, India is a spiritual. It is not like that. India is a spiritual. People say that Hinduism is the religion which talks about peace and non-violence. But they forget that even Christianity, the Isa Masih, the Jesus Christ has given the message of peace. Even the Jaina tradition, the Buddhist tradition, they are also giving the message of peace. So it is always the desire of the elite to appropriate everything and to project and to present their own culture as the culture of pan-India. So that argument that caste and class is caste and religion is disappearing, I do not agree with that. Now the second question is that the second point which is given in favor of development with uniform civil code, BJP minority Morcha, the cell national president, Mr. Jamal Siddiqui, spoke to journalists in Agartala few days back, and he said that Muslims should support that uniform civil code because it will lead to development and peace. This is not correct. He is pleasing, he is trying to appease his leadership because he knows that he is a minority leader. If he doesn't support uniform civil code, his interest will be at stake. Development has no relations with uniform civil code. If you have to do development, you have to change your economic policies. You should not just work for the interest of few corporate players, but you should work for the general masses. You should give more budget on social and economic security. The government should create jobs. That measures are not being taken, but now the idea is being tossed up. It is being coined that, okay, once uniform civil code is implemented, what will happen? All development problem will be over. This is also unbelievable, and it is not based on any sound logic. Now another argument is being given by Mr. Jamal Saab from the BJP. He said that it will bring about peace. Peace can only be brought about when there is a justice in society. When you do not do justice, when you just work for a few people, when this government is being run on the chanda, on the donation of few corporate players, there is no peace. When the government is spending so much money on buying arms, there cannot be peace on border. So to bring about peace, the rulers have to be visionary. They have to understand the problem, but they are not doing it, and they are just saying that if uniform civil code is brought in, every problem will be over. That is not the question. Now the argument is being given that uniform civil code will check the rising population of Muslims. This is also completely wrong. It has been discourse in India for last 100 or 150 years that Muslim population is increasing. But I want to request you, go and check the population growth of Muslims as well as Hindus. They are declining, and India is being projected as a country which is facing the problem of population. And sometime when government does not fulfill its promise of giving employment and working for the poor, the argument is being given by the right-wing forces that, oh, so much population has increased, what can government do? That is not correct. A poor person is also giving tax, and in India we get so much FDI, multinational companies are coming, and big companies from outside, they are coming and they are setting up their business here. Why they are coming here? Because we have got cheap labor. A person who is doing the job of a call center in Delhi may get only 20,000 rupees or 25,000 rupees. For the same job in London or maybe in the USA or some other place, you have to give 2 lakh rupees or 3 lakh rupees. So our population is somehow advantage for the ruling classes. I don't understand that why they are saying that population is increasing. There is no basis for that. And the proposed law by the Uttar Pradesh government to check population, that is also unfortunate. They are just doing politics. Now another argument is being given that, oh, the Muslims are being governed by the Sharia law, but Indian democracy is secular, so we should bring about uniformity. That uniformity will put an end to all kinds of reactionary and fanatic laws. That is also wrong. 99% of our life, be if you are a Hindu or if you are a Muslim or if you are a Adivasi or if you are a Christian, if you are a Sikh, if you are a Parsi, if you are a Jain, if you are a woman, if you are a gay, if you are from Tamil Nadu, you are governed by the uniform law. Only in the matter of marriage, divorce, succession, inheritance, where customary laws are being applied. So this is also not correct argument. And friends, you have to also keep in mind that some Sharia courts are being run by Imarat-e-Sharia and some other Muslim organizations, but that court is not powerful. They do not have police, they do not have army, and they do not drag any persons to come to the court. No, when two parties, two Muslims, they agree that they are going to get their issues settled by that court, the Sharia court, then they go there. And when Sharia court gives any judgment as per the light of the Quran, that judgment is not binding. They can accept it or they may not accept it. So nowhere in this country Sharia law is in force. Indian government and India is being governed by our own constitution, and the life of a Hindu and a Muslim and Sikh, everybody's life is being governed by what? Governed by our secular law, our uniform law. So these are all the myths which are being propagated. Now, today the RSS and the BJP and the Hindutva forces are saying that go for uniformity, one nation. If there is one DNA of everybody, why shouldn't there be one law? But this is also a very weak argument. You know what has happened when Hindu Code Bill was being implemented and when the rights for the women, Hindu women, were being given, what has happened? The Hindu Mahasabha, the Jana Sangha, which is the earlier avatar of the BJP, they just opposed this. And they said that a state has no right to intervene in the society. And now what they are doing, they are saying no, a state has a right to intervene. It is the Muslims community which is opposing intervention. Now the second argument is that in 1972, Golwalkar, RSS chief, he gave an statement he gave an interview in Organizer, that is the mouthpiece of RSS, and he said that uniformity should not be accepted. He rejected uniformity, and he says what he says in the interview. I want to quote him. It was published in Organizer 1972. He said, not necessarily India has always had infinite variety, and yet for long stretches of time we are a very strong and united nation. For unity we need harmony, not uniformity. I want to repeat it. He said, for unity we need harmony, not uniformity. So friend, he said that the time is to go for harmony, not for uniformity. But what was the major shift in the BJP policy? In 1984, Sahabano case came up, and in Sahabano case, a Muslim woman was divorced by his husband, and she came to Supreme Court, and Supreme Court talked about, Supreme Court gave the ruling that maintenance should be given, and at that time it created lot of controversy. And that time the Hindutva forces realized that the issue of Muslim women being oppressed and the issue of uniform civil code is very much important for them, because it can create polarization, and they are selectively using it against minorities community. Since then they have used both these agendas, and but it was not the case in the history. Golwalkar opposed uniformity, but after late 1980s they accepted it, and it has been part of the BJP's agenda. Bhim Rao Ambedkar, they are also misquoting Bhim Rao Ambedkar, Baba Saheb Ambedkar, and they are saying Ambedkar was for the uniformity and he was for the uniform civil code, and so many seminars are being organized in Indian university. But the reality is that BJP and RSS is wrong. Bhim Rao Ambedkar in Constituent Assembly, when he heard all debates, he stood up and he said that a state should not impose any law that people are not ready to accept it. If a state goes for that kind of forceful law, then what will happen? That people will rise in rebellion. And I want to quote you, no government can exercise its power in such a manner so as to provoke the Muslim community to rise in rebellion. So Ambedkar said, do not do it. There is, if people are not ready, government cannot make such laws. So this is the reality. Friends, I am not saying that reform should not take place. I am not defending reactionary practices. Reform must take place. The wheel of reform must go on. But one thing we have to keep in mind, that the issue of women is not only exclusive to Muslims community. Hindu women, Muslim women, Christian women, Sikh women, they are all facing problem. There may be some similarities in their cases. There may be some variety in their cases. So we should not try to communalize it, and we should ask, are not Hindu women facing the problem of dowry? Are not they killed in the name of dowry? Are they not divorced? Are they not facing sexual assault? Are they not being raped? Are they not socially, economically and educationally backward than their counterpart, their male? So my argument is that we must take up the issue of women. We must go for reforms, but it should not be on communal plank. And this is also wrong to say that Muslim personal law was never reformed and Hindu personal law was reformed because Congress party and Nehru feared that if they go for reforming Muslim personal laws, the Muslim will become angry and they will not vote for the Congress party. This is wrong. So many acts were passed, enacted in colonial time, colonial time. For example, Sharia Act was passed in 1937, and Civil Procedure Code 908, Waqf Act 1913. So you will find that after coming of the Britishers, what has happened? That they increasingly did away with the customary laws and personal laws, and they restricted the personal law and customary law to a small part of our life, that is just 1%. 99% of our life is being governed by uniformity, by uniform law. So the point is, if this is the reality, and mind you, uniform civil code is not only the questions of Muslim only, it is the question of Sikh also, it is the question of Hindu also, it is the questions of Adivasi also. And one thing you have to keep in mind, that that uniformity is desire, it is a wish, but diversity is reality. So in legal science, in law, people are talking about pluralism, legal pluralism. So the best law is one that accommodates the interest and the cultures of everybody. We should celebrate our multicultural ethos. But why they are bringing uniform civil code? I am sure that it is very controversial issue, and government will find very difficult. The government will find difficulty in bringing the draft. But why they have brought this issue to the center stage? Very simple answer to this is, Uttar Pradesh election is coming, and so many important elections is coming, and this issue will polarize voters. Hindus versus Muslims will happen, and the failure of the government will be forgotten by the people, and they will again start fighting on the issue of religion. That is what they want. That is what the government wants. So the need of the hour is that secular forces must get united. We should not get provoked, and we should fight this conspiracy. Please send your comments and your suggestions so that I could improve it. Thank you very much.